A single starship pierced the vast expanse of space, its metal hull shimmering under the cold gaze of distant stars. Each movement seemed deliberate, as if it carried secrets that could alter the fate of the galaxy. Around it, the cosmos seemed alive, nebulae swirled like frozen storms, and constellations burned with a fierce, unyielding brilliance. Within this cosmic ocean, the Galactic Concordia, an alliance of over 1,000 intelligent species, held its latest emergency session aboard their massive orbital citadel, Concord Prime. The chamber was abuzz with tension as representatives of various civilizations debated the fate of humanity, the fledgling newcomer to the interstellar stage. The quarrels had started months ago when humanity's first transmission reached the Concordia, a simple message of greeting and an invitation for dialogue. Unremarkable by galactic standards, except for one detail: humanity lacked weapons, an interstellar fleet, or any defense. Yet, their boldness in contacting the galaxy carried an air of audacity that unnerved more than a few advanced species. "They're either naive or outright insane," hissed a blue-skinned Zorthan diplomat, their segmented limbs twitching with agitation. "No species survives in this galaxy without weapons. What do they think they're doing?" "Perhaps they're hiding their true strength," countered a massive Ursanth representative, their fur rippling with suspicion. "This could be a ploy to lull us into underestimating them." "Enough," boomed the presiding arbiter, a glowing entity of pure energy known as Quoralem. Their light pulsed with authority, silencing the cacophony. "The humans have made their position clear. They wish to send an ambassador to represent their species. We have agreed to permit it. What remains is to determine how we shall receive them." In the back corner of the chamber, silent until now, stood Lyric Tath, a Calvian observer and one of the most seasoned negotiators in Concordia history. Her crystalline skin refracted light into a kaleidoscope of colors, her very presence commanding attention with an air of serene confidence and the faintest trace of intrigue in her glimmering eyes. "If I may speak." Quoralem inclined their radiant form. "Proceed, Lyric Tath. This is an opportunity, not a threat," she said, her voice as harmonious as a symphony. "Humanity's message carries no hint of hostility. They have asked for dialogue. Denying them might push them toward isolationism or worse, desperation. Shall we judge a species by their vulnerability, or by their potential to enrich the galaxy?" The chamber buzzed with muted murmurs. After a moment of deliberation, Quoralem's light brightened in approval. "The ambassador shall be received. Let us see what humanity has to offer." 2 months later, a small, unassuming shuttle emerged from the Sol System's jump gate, its design simple and devoid of the ornate grandeur typical of Concordian vessels. It docked with Concord Prime without incident. From its airlock stepped the human ambassador, Dr. Emily Carter, a middle-aged anthropologist with warm hazel eyes and an infectious smile. Her attire was modest, a practical jumpsuit adorned only with a patch bearing Earth's emblem, a blue and green sphere encircled by olive branches. Awaiting her was Lyric Tath, appointed by the Concordia to guide and evaluate the human representative. Lyric's crystalline skin shimmered like sunlight on water, and her gaze held a calm intensity, betraying both curiosity and caution. She observed the ambassador with curiosity as Emily approached, carrying a leather satchel that seemed archaic in contrast to the sleek technologies surrounding them. "Dr. Carter," Lyric greeted, her crystalline form shimmering. "Welcome to Concord Prime. I am Lyric Tath, your Concordian liaison." Emily extended a hand, her smile broadening as she fought back a wave of nervous anticipation. She'd rehearsed this moment countless times, yet the reality of standing before an alien liaison made her pulse quicken with equal parts awe and determination. "Thank you, Lyric. It's an honor to be here." Lyric hesitated for a moment before mimicking the human gesture, her crystalline fingers brushing against Emily's. The touch was surprisingly warm, almost electric. "You traveled alone?" Lyric asked as they began walking toward the reception chamber. "That's right," Emily replied. "Humanity decided it was best to send someone unarmed, as a gesture of trust." "Unarmed?" Lyric repeated, her tone tinged with incredulity. "You are aware that many here view that as recklessness?" Emily nodded. "I'm aware. But sometimes, taking the first step requires a leap of faith. Besides, I believe dialogue is the most powerful tool we have. Lyric tilted her head, her crystalline features catching the light. We shall see if your faith is well placed. The reception chamber was a spectacle of galactic diversity, alive with the hum of alien voices and the subtle warmth of environmental regulators that adjusted to suit countless species. The air carried an electric anticipation, tinged with the faint scent of unfamiliar flora and metallic undertones. Towering crystalline beings refracted light into dazzling rainbows, while gaseous entities swirled within containment fields like miniature nebulae. Multilimbed giants, their carapaces gleaming like polished obsidian, mingled with amorphous shapes that pulsed in rhythmic hues. The air was thick with a medley of alien sounds, whispers, clicks, and harmonic tones, creating a symphony of the unfamiliar. Scents of foreign flora and metallic tangs further heightened the sensory overload, making it an unforgettable convergence of life from across the galaxy. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the tiered seating, their forms ranging from gaseous clouds to multilimbed giants. At the center of the amphitheater stood Emily, alone but undeterred, her satchel resting at her feet. Distinguished members of the Galactic Concordia, she began, her voice steady despite the scrutiny of countless alien eyes. I am Dr. Emily Carter, here on behalf of humanity. We come not as conquerors, nor as supplicants, but as explorers seeking to learn and share. A low murmur rippled through the chamber. Emily's confidence was palpable, but so too was the skepticism of her audience. Your species lacks weapons, growled the Ursanth representative. How do you propose to survive, let alone contribute to this galaxy? Emily held his gaze, her determination unshaken and her voice steady as she prepared to respond. Humanity has faced countless challenges on our homeworld. Our strength lies not in our weaponry, but in our ingenuity, resilience, and capacity for cooperation. We believe that collaboration, not conflict, is the key to thriving in this universe. Bold words, sneered a reptilian envoy, their scales glinting like polished metal. But words alone do not win wars or deter invaders. True, Emily conceded, her tone measured. But words can prevent wars. They can forge alliances and inspire progress. Humanity has a saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. And though we lack weapons, we carry the tools of creation and dialogue in abundance. From her satchel, she produced a small, intricately carved box. Inside were carefully chosen items, books brimming with Earth stories, photographs capturing pivotal moments, miniature sculptures representing human art, and a compact holographic projector. She activated the projector, and the chamber was filled with images of Earth's history, culture, and achievements. This is who we are, Emily said, her voice resonating with pride and sincerity. A species of storytellers, dreamers, and builders. We've sent explorers to our moon, crafted symphonies that echo through time, and pondered the mysteries of existence. And now, we wish to share this with you. The images shifted, showing humanity's struggles, wars, natural disasters, and moments of profound loss, but also their triumphs, cooperation in the face of adversity, acts of compassion, and the unyielding drive to persevere. For a moment, the chamber was silent, captivated by the display. The faint hum of the holographic projector lingered in the still air, and the soft, rhythmic breaths of the assembled beings seemed to echo in the vast space, amplifying the weight of the moment. Then, lyric Tath rose, her crystalline form glinting like a star. Her thoughts swirled with a mixture of skepticism and reluctant admiration. The human's audacity to stand unarmed before the galaxy was equal parts folly and brilliance. Was this courage born of desperation, or was it something deeper, a quiet, unshakable belief in their potential? For the first time in decades, Lyric felt the stirrings of genuine curiosity, a rare spark that hinted at the possibility of something extraordinary. As a seasoned negotiator, she had long grown numb to the hollow theatrics of diplomacy, but the human's earnestness was unlike anything she had encountered. It challenged her cynicism, awakening a sense of wonder she thought she had lost. Dr. Carter, she said, her voice cutting through the stillness, your presentation is moving. But tell me, what happens if the galaxy does not accept your gesture of trust? Emily met Lyric's gaze, her expression unwavering, but her mind churned with thoughts of everything at stake. She focused on the belief that humanity's willingness to stand vulnerable could speak louder than any weapon, a quiet resolve anchoring her amid the storm of alien scrutiny. Then humanity will continue to explore and learn, seeking allies who share our vision of a better future. We do not fear rejection, because hope is our greatest weapon. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of reactions, some murmurs of approval, others of skepticism or disdain. But amid the chaos, lyric Tath found herself intrigued, a glimmer of admiration forming within her crystalline heart. As the session adjourned, Emily returned to her quarters, the tension in her shoulders easing as she reflected on the mixed reactions. Despite her exhaustion, a faint smile tugged at her lips. The seeds of understanding had been sown, and she allowed herself to imagine the possibility of their growth. Lyric followed, her curiosity piqued. "You've made an impression," Lyric said as they walked. "I hope it's a good one," Emily replied, her smile tinged with weariness. Lyric paused, her crystalline form catching the light, reflecting an array of colors that mirrored her swirling thoughts. She found herself pondering the unusual determination of this human, a species so vulnerable yet so unwavering, and wondered if their gamble could truly reshape the galaxy. "Time will tell, Dr. Carter. Time will tell." The corridors of Concord Prime buzzed with activity, a whirlwind of voices and movement, but Emily Carter's path to her temporary quarters felt like stepping into a bubble of stillness. Her thoughts churned with the polarized reactions to her presentation, contrasting sharply with the quiet around her. Lyric Tath walked beside her, the faint chiming sound of her crystalline form a subtle accompaniment to their shared silence. Emily's mind raced with the events of the reception. She had delivered humanity's message, but the reaction had been as polarized as expected. For every glimmer of interest or approval, there was an equal measure of skepticism and even outright disdain. It was a precarious start. "You held your ground well," Lyric finally said, breaking the quiet as they neared Emily's door. Emily's brow furrowed slightly as she wondered if Lyric's words carried genuine respect or a subtle warning, the ambiguity gnawing at her already taxed confidence. Her tone was neutral, but there was a hint of something admiration, perhaps. Few species have presented themselves with such vulnerability. Emily glanced at her companion, a rueful smile tugging at her lips. "That's one way to put it. I'd call it a calculated risk." Lyric inclined her head. "Risk is an understatement. Many here see vulnerability as weakness. You've given them an opportunity to dismiss you, or worse, exploit you. And yet," Emily countered, "I've also given them an opportunity to see us as something more than just another species clamoring for resources or dominance. If even one ally emerges from this, it will be worth it." Lyric paused before the door, her crystalline skin refracting the hallway's ambient light. "Your optimism intrigues me, Dr. Carter. I'll be watching closely." The door slid open, and Emily stepped inside. "Thank you, Lyric. I'll see you tomorrow." As the door closed behind her, Emily leaned against it and exhaled deeply. The room was sparse but comfortable, with a viewport offering a stunning view of the galactic core. She allowed herself a moment to admire it before her communicator chimed. "Emily," came a familiar voice. It was Dr. Raj Patel, the head of Earth's interstellar relations team and her closest confidant in this venture. His face appeared on the screen, concern etched into his features. "How did it go?" "Mixed," Emily admitted, sinking into the chair at her desk. "There's interest, but there's also a lot of suspicion. They're not used to species showing up without weapons or demands." Raj nodded. "That's what we expected. But you're making history, Emily. Remember that. History doesn't feel so grand in the moment," she replied with a wry smile. "It feels like walking a tightrope without a net." "You're not alone," Raj said firmly. "We're here, and we're monitoring everything. You're doing exactly what needs to be done." "Thanks, Raj. That means a lot." The call ended, and Emily turned her attention back to the viewport. The galaxy seemed so peaceful from here, its stars twinkling like distant beacons of hope. Yet Emily knew the calm was an illusion, masking centuries of conflicts, alliances, and betrayals that shaped this vast expanse. It reminded her of Earth's oceans, serene on the surface but hiding unfathomable depths. Humanity's place in this vast expanse was uncertain, but she was determined to carve out a space for them. The following day, Lyric arrived to escort Emily to her next engagement, a meeting with key representatives of the Concordia. The setting was smaller and more intimate than the amphitheater, but the stakes felt just as high. Arrayed around a circular table were 6 figures, each representing a major faction within the Concordia. As Emily took her seat, the tension in the room was palpable. The Ursanth representative, the same one who had questioned her at the reception, leaned forward. His deep voice rumbled like distant thunder. "Dr. Carter, you've made bold claims about humanity's resilience and cooperation. But words are easy. What actions can you show to support them?" Emily expected the challenge and was prepared. She activated a small device on the table, projecting a series of holograms. The first was a depiction of Earth, its vibrant ecosystems and diverse landscapes rotating slowly. "This is our home," she began. "A world of immense beauty, rolling green hills, oceans teeming with life, and skies that dance with auroras, and harsh challenges like hurricanes that devastate coasts and droughts that test our resolve. We've faced natural disasters, resource scarcity, and conflicts of our own making. Yet, through it all, we've learned to adapt and to find solutions together." The images shifted to scenes of human ingenuity, the International Space Station orbiting Earth, renewable energy farms stretching across deserts, and massive reforestation projects turning barren lands green again. "These are just a few examples of how we've turned adversity into opportunity," Emily continued. "We believe that our capacity for innovation and collaboration can be of value to the galaxy." The Ursanth representative remained silent, his expression inscrutable. A slender, multi-eyed being from the Vorthan collective spoke next, their voice a series of melodic clicks translated into words. "Impressive, but how do we know your intentions are genuine? Many have come before you claiming peace, only to bring conflict." Emily nodded, acknowledging the concern. Her mind flashed to humanity's own troubled history of building trust through hardship and trial. "Trust is earned, not given. I don't expect you to believe in us overnight. That's why we're here, to build that trust through transparency and cooperation." Lyric observed the exchange closely, her crystalline features reflecting the hologram's glow. She noted how Emily's responses were measured and deliberate, her demeanor unwavering even under scrutiny. It was a rare quality, one that Lyric had seen in only the most skilled negotiators. "What do you seek from the Concordia?" asked a representative whose gaseous form shifted constantly within a containment field. "A chance," Emily replied simply. "A chance to contribute, to learn, and to grow. Humanity understands that we have much to prove, but we're willing to work for it." The meeting continued for hours, with questions ranging from humanity's technological capabilities to their philosophical outlook. By the end, the atmosphere had softened slightly, though skepticism still lingered. As they left the chamber, Lyric turned to Emily. "You've planted seeds today. Whether they grow will depend on what you do next." Emily smiled, though she felt the weight of the statement. "I wouldn't expect anything less." Later that evening, as Emily prepared for another long night of strategizing, the sharp buzz of her communicator shattered the quiet, sending a jolt through her. Her pulse quickened as she reached for the device, a knot of apprehension tightening in her chest. An unexpected message. The sender was listed as anonymous, but the content was clear: "Meet me in the observation deck at midnight. Come alone." Emily's stomach tightened as she read the message. 1,000 scenarios flashed through her mind, ranging from covert alliances to deadly ambushes. The cryptic nature of the summons only deepened her apprehension, but it also stoked her resolve to uncover the truth. Emily frowned, her mind racing with possibilities. It could be a trap, or it could be an opportunity. Either way, she knew she couldn't ignore it. When the appointed time came, she arrived at the observation deck to find it deserted except for a single figure cloaked in shadow. As she approached, the figure stepped into the light, revealing a being she didn't recognize, their features sharp and angular, their eyes a piercing silver. "Dr. Carter," the stranger said, their voice smooth and enigmatic. "You speak of trust and cooperation, but you're playing a dangerous game. Not everyone in the Concordia shares your vision." "Who are you?" Emily asked, her tone cautious. "A friend," the figure replied, though their demeanor suggested otherwise. And a warning. Be careful where you place your faith. The galaxy is not as forgiving as your kind might hope. Before Emily could respond, the figure disappeared into the shadows, leaving her alone with a mixture of unease and determination. Whatever lay ahead, she knew the stakes had just been raised. The observation deck of Concord Prime was silent save for the faint hum of the station's life support systems. Emily Carter stood at the vast expanse of transparent material separating her from the void, her reflection mingling with the stars beyond. The cryptic warning from the shadowy stranger replayed in her mind, its implications rippling through her thoughts. Was this a genuine attempt to help, a veiled threat, or part of a larger scheme to undermine humanity's fragile position? The ambiguity gnawed at her, for if it was the latter, it could dismantle the tenuous trust she had fought to establish and cast her mission into irreparable doubt. Each possibility added layers of doubt, sharpening her sense of urgency. She had expected challenges, even danger, but this added an edge of uncertainty she hadn't prepared for. The doors slid open, breaking her reverie. Lyric Tath entered, her crystalline form shimmering faintly in the ambient light, her sharp gaze scanning the room with a mix of concern and quiet determination. The faint chiming of her movements echoed softly, and behind her composed exterior, her thoughts churned with calculations about how this new challenge might reshape humanity's fragile position in the Concordia. I heard you had an unusual visitor last night, she began without preamble, her tone betraying equal parts concern and curiosity. Emily turned, her expression guarded. Word travels fast on Concord Prime. Faster than you might think, Lyric replied. Did they threaten you? Not directly, Emily admitted. But their warning was clear. Not everyone here wants humanity to succeed. Lyric's prismatic features reflected a moment of contemplation. You are navigating a delicate web of alliances and rivalries, Dr. Carter. There are those who see potential in humanity, and others who see a threat. The question is, who will act first? Before Emily could respond, her communicator buzzed. She glanced at the message, her brow furrowing. The Concordia Council wants me to attend an emergency session. They didn't provide details. Lyric's eyes narrowed. Be cautious. Such sudden summons are rarely straightforward. The council chamber was a whirlwind of activity when Emily arrived. Representatives from dozens of species filled the room, their voices a chaotic cacophony. At the center stood Quoralem, the presiding arbiter, their radiant form pulsing with agitation. Dr. Carter, Quoralem called as Emily entered. The chamber quieted, all eyes turning to her. You are aware of the accusations brought against your species? Emily froze, her mind racing. Accusations? Yes, rumbled the Ursanth representative, stepping forward. His towering frame cast a long shadow over the chamber. There are claims that humanity has concealed its true capabilities. That your pacifist approach is a ruse to infiltrate and destabilize the Concordia. The air seemed to thicken around Emily as murmurs filled the chamber, the low hum of alien voices pressing against her ears like an invisible weight. She straightened her posture, her mind rapidly strategizing how to dismantle the accusations without appearing defensive. She clenched her fists subtly, her heart pounding as doubt and defiance battled within her. That's absurd, she said, her voice firm but measured. Humanity came here with open hands and honest intentions. We have nothing to hide. Then you will not object to an inspection of your vessel and communications, the Ursanth countered. Emily hesitated, aware of the potential implications. Humanity had sent her unarmed and unaided, but the idea of opening their technology to scrutiny was fraught with risk. Yet refusal would only deepen suspicion, casting doubt on humanity's sincerity and potentially unraveling the fragile trust she had worked so hard to establish. The stakes were monumental. A single misstep could isolate humanity from the galactic community or, worse, paint them as a threat to be neutralized. I have nothing to hide, she said finally. Inspect what you will. The arbiter's glow brightened. Then it is agreed. A neutral party will conduct the inspection. Let this matter be settled swiftly. The inspection team was assembled within hours, a mix of species chosen for their impartiality. Lyric accompanied Emily back to her quarters as they waited for the team to arrive. You've taken a dangerous gamble, Lyric said, her tone cautious. Emily sighed. What choice did I have? Refusing would have confirmed their worst fears. Transparency is our best chance to prove our intentions. Lyric studied her for a moment. You are either incredibly brave or recklessly optimistic. Perhaps both. The inspection proceeded with meticulous thoroughness. Every inch of Emily's vessel, every piece of equipment, and every communication log was scrutinized. Emily stood by, answering questions and offering explanations, her patience unwavering despite the obvious skepticism of some inspectors. Hours stretched into the night before the inspection concluded. The team's leader, a stoic being from the Zorthan species, approached Emily. We found no evidence of deception or hidden capabilities, they reported. Your vessel and records are consistent with your claims. Emily exhaled slowly, relief washing over her. The confirmation was a fragile victory, but it reaffirmed humanity's commitment to transparency and ignited a renewed determination in her. This success, however small, solidified her strategy. Every action must reinforce their sincerity, and every word must pave the path toward alliances that could secure their place among the stars. Thank you. The report was delivered to the council the following morning. The tension in the chamber was palpable as the Zorthan representative summarized their findings. Humanity has been forthright in its approach. We find no basis for the accusations levied against them. Quoralem's light pulsed in acknowledgement. Then this matter is resolved. Dr. Carter, you may continue your mission. The murmurs of the council grew softer, though Emily could feel the weight of lingering suspicion in the air. She knew this was only a temporary reprieve. Later that evening, as Emily walked along one of Concord Prime's observation corridors, Lyric joined her. You've survived your first trial, the crystalline diplomat said, her tone almost teasing. But the game is far from over. Emily smiled faintly. I never expected it to be easy. But every step forward is a victory. They stopped at a viewport, the galaxy stretching out before them in all its vastness. Lyric's gaze lingered on the stars. You've begun to earn respect, Emily. But respect alone will not secure humanity's place here. You must find allies willing to stand with you. Emily nodded. I know. And I will. One step at a time. As they stood in silence, a sudden tremor shook the station. Alarms blared, the lights flickering as Concord Prime's automated systems responded to the disturbance. What's happening? Emily asked, her voice sharp with urgency. Lyric's crystalline form glowed faintly as she accessed the station's data feeds. The faint hum of nearby alarms vibrated through the air, a constant reminder of the station's heightened alert. An unauthorized ship just breached the perimeter. Security forces are en route, she said, her voice steady but tinged with urgency. Emily's heart pounded, the sound roaring in her ears like a distant drumbeat. Do we know who it is? Not yet, Lyric replied. But it's heading straight for the council chamber. Without thinking, Emily broke into a run, Lyric following close behind. The corridors blurred as they raced toward the heart of the station. Whatever was happening, Emily knew one thing. Humanity's precarious foothold in the galaxy was about to be tested once again. The corridors of Concord Prime echoed with the rhythmic pounding of Emily's footsteps as she and Lyric sprinted toward the council chamber. The tremor's aftershocks had subsided, but the tension in the air remained thick, laced with the acrid scent of smoke and the faint metallic tang of scorched circuits. Faint vibrations hummed through the walls, punctuated by the occasional crackle of distant energy surges, heightening the sense of unease. The alarm's blare reverberated through the station, vibrating the floor beneath Emily's feet and amplifying the undercurrent of urgency. As they rounded a corner, a sudden explosion reverberated through the station, followed by a cascade of shouts and hurried commands over the intercom. They've breached the council chamber perimeter, Lyric said, her voice clipped as she accessed live feeds through her crystalline form. Security forces are engaging, but the attackers are using advanced cloaking tech. Emily's mind raced, torn between the fear of what might come and the unshakable resolve to face it head-on. The weight of humanity's fragile place in the galaxy pressed on her, but it also fueled her determination to prove their worth against the odds. Who are they? Do we have any identification? Lyric hesitated. Nothing concrete yet. But whoever they are, they're well-funded and highly coordinated. The two emerged into the central atrium leading to the council chamber just as a group of Concordian guards ushered fleeing representatives to safety. The chamber doors had been blown inward, smoke curling from the edges. Emily could make out faint shadows moving within, the intruders' cloaking devices flickering intermittently. "Stay here," Lyric said, her tone leaving no room for argument as she advanced cautiously. "No," Emily countered, stepping forward. "I'm not leaving. This is about humanity as much as it's about the Concordia. Let me help." Lyric turned, her crystalline features shimmering with something akin to respect. "Then stay behind me. And stay alive." Together, they entered the council chamber, where chaos unfolded in a cacophony of shouts. The acrid stench of burning circuits mingled with the flickering red glow of emergency lights. Intruders darted through the thick smoke, their movements sharp and calculated, like shadows wielding deadly precision. The erratic crackle of energy weapons punctuated the din, each burst lighting up the chamber with brief, violent flashes. Smoke hung thick in the air, stinging Emily's eyes and throat, while the distant hum of failing systems added a sinister undercurrent to the chaos. Intruders clad in stealth suits moved with deadly precision, their weapons crackling with energy as they disabled security systems and incapacitated guards. At the chamber's center stood Quarelem, their radiant form dimmed but still imposing as they faced the attackers. "Stop this madness," Quarelem commanded, their voice resonating through the chamber. "You endanger not just this council, but the stability of the entire galaxy." One of the attackers, their cloaking device failing to fully conceal their reptilian features, snarled. "The Concordia has grown weak, pandering to species like the humans. It's time for real strength to govern the stars." Emily stepped forward, her voice cutting through the din. Fear gnawed at the edges of her resolve, her hands trembling slightly as adrenaline surged through her veins. She steadied her breathing, focusing on the image of Earth and its billions of lives depending on her. The weight of humanity's future anchored her steps, transforming fear into a quiet, determined strength. If she faltered now, the fragile hope she had brought to the Concordia might shatter, and with it, humanity's chance to prove its worth. "And what does strength mean to you?" "Fear. Suppression. The galaxy doesn't need more conquerors. It needs unity." The intruder turned toward her, weapon raised. "And what does a species like yours know of unity?" "Enough to know it's the only way we survive," Emily replied, her gaze unwavering. "Humanity has learned that division only leads to ruin. We've made mistakes, but we've also learned to stand together in the face of adversity. That's why we're here, not to take, but to build." For a moment, the intruder hesitated, their weapon wavering. But the moment passed as another explosion rocked the chamber, jolting them back into action. Before they could fire, Lyric moved with startling speed, her crystalline form refracting the light into a blinding flash that disoriented the attackers. The air crackled with energy, and a wave of heat swept through the chamber, forcing Emily to shield her eyes as the attackers stumbled in confusion. Security forces surged into the chamber, taking advantage of the distraction to subdue the intruders. In the aftermath, as the smoke cleared and the council chamber began to stabilize, Quarelem approached Emily. "Your bravery today will not be forgotten, Dr. Carter. Nor will your words." Emily nodded, exhaustion catching up with her. "Thank you." But this wasn't just about humanity. It was about proving that unity is stronger than fear. Days later, the council reconvened, the memory of the attack still fresh but the determination to move forward even stronger. The investigation had revealed the attackers to be part of a rogue faction seeking to destabilize the Concordia and replace it with a militaristic regime. Their failure had only strengthened the resolve of the council and its allies. Emily stood before the assembly once more, this time not as a suspect but as a beacon of hope. The shift was palpable, filling her with both pride and the weight of responsibility. This newfound role reshaped her thoughts. She now saw her mission not only as a test of humanity's worth but as a chance to redefine the values that could unite the galaxy. Her next steps would be guided by this realization, pushing her to forge alliances and inspire trust wherever possible. She no longer stood merely as a representative of Earth, She embodied the fragile yet resilient possibility of unity across the stars. What happened here was a reminder of how fragile peace can be, she began. But it also showed us what's possible when we stand together. Humanity came here seeking allies, but we found something greater, the belief that unity is our galaxy's greatest strength. Let's not squander it. Applause filled the chamber, a rare sound in the often solemn proceedings of the Concordia. Lyric stood among the representatives, her crystalline form glinting in approval. For the first time, Emily felt the weight of acceptance, not just for herself, but for humanity. As she left the chamber, the galaxy stretched out before her, vast and unpredictable but filled with possibility. Emily's thoughts turned to the alliances she hoped to forge, the challenges still ahead, and the vision of humanity standing shoulder to shoulder with other species to build a shared future. Humanity's place among the stars was no longer a question of if, but how. And Emily Carter, the unarmed ambassador, had taken the first steps toward answering it.